So now, the issue is that the dollarization is a subject of conversation, but not in isolation. The real issue is that the African economies, starting with our regional economies, SADC, East African Community, we would like to integrate more. Even the issue, I know President will address that visa issue. That's part of the elements of the things that are slowing us down. Regulations, platforms, technology, again, back to technology. Are we able to talk to each other? Businesses able to talk to each other when goods move across. So to encapsulate it, the Africa Free Trade Area initiative really is also anchored on existing efforts of, say, COMESA. COMESA, before the FTA, the African Free Trade Area Initiative, was the largest trading bloc on the continent. And it has experienced a lot of things, using those experiences, good and bad. And in my speech, as I assumed the COMESA chairmanship, I did say that COMESA now, in this era that will be, to build on what others have done before us, because that's the way life works, we will focus on ensuring that COMESA talks to the Secretariat, COMESA Secretariat talks to the Secretariat of the Africa Free Trade Area, so that we make sure we leverage on the positive and negative experiences of the regional bodies to build quickly the African Free Trade Area, so that we can integrate our economies and, of course, businesses and people. What is the economy? It's people, micro level, human beings, micro level, then the macro level. We bring, I'm being summarized here, we bring all of that together. I see from your question that you have knowledge of the field. So we can bring these facets together much quicker. And for what? To basically help improve our economies, Africa economies, including the benefits that will flow to people, jobs, business, supply chain, value addition, all of that stuff. And the realization that Africa cannot be trading with each other through third parties. And this is a tendency on our continent. Before President Kagame, to come to Rwanda, would have had to go to maybe Dubai and then fly to Rwanda. So we want to clean up these distortions. Direct flights, road network, rail. In fact, I was talking to the EU yesterday in Lusaka. My last meeting was with the EU to talk about the Africa infrastructure gateway, Africa gateway, to look at more than just one type. So it's technology, communication, it's roads, it's railways. So we can move goods. For example, in Zambia, we have a surplus in food. One of the few countries we have surplus in food, but we can't move it to Central African Republic. We can't easily, and at a fair price. So these are the issues. So the issue of dollarization must be seen in the context of us integrating our economies for the greater good and being able to trade, invest and trade with each other without having to always quote another currency. And in there, you know, from the field, I'm sure, judging from your question, transaction costs we can reduce, translation costs, you know, we can reduce, foreign exchange exposure risk we can reduce. That is the story. So I think let's see that issue in the context of that. What President Ruto is saying is in the context of what we would like to do as a continent. And I can bet once we've done it, and we've done it properly, we make mistakes here and there, it will benefit an average African, an ordinary African. That's why we're elected into public office. If we were to take care of our interests only, I think we know how to do that, reasonably fair. But the challenge is to take care of many people who are talented differently, endowed differently, different platforms, different understandings. So we need to cut on the cost. We need to cut on the rigidity. We need to cut on, you heard me talk about a non-stop border post, so that goods can move quickly from one country to another, deficit to surplus. And every country has a surplus in something, may have a deficit in another. But once we work together in that way, and we don't have to be limited by the rules around one currency, we can do things better. In a nutshell, That's what I would say, but we need the media to support this agenda. But I must also say that the best integration is one which delivers benefits to all the participants, not to one or two only. Because in the end, people start complaining. Those where the benefits are not flowing, they start seeing no value. And I think that's the challenge now we have, the technical inputs to structure this thing properly. I'm sure you're aware that we are talking over an Africa clearinghouse, financial clearinghouse. We don't have to go through to Manhattan in order to do a transaction between Rwanda and Zambia. That's where we are going. Thank you very much.